welcome to the Growth Whisperers Podcast, where everything we talk about is relating to building an enduring great company. Not a short term, not a flash and pan, enduring great company, and helping the leader and their teams to succeed in this. I'm Kevin Lawrence. I'm here with my co-host today, Brad Giles. Brad, how you doing?
I'm excellent, absolutely fabulous. We're just looking forward to a break over the Christmas holidays. Summer's here. Life is great. What about you?
Summer's here. We're in winter, man. We got our warm winter jackets on, and we're excited when we see some rays of sun. But yeah, we're doing great here. And we're kind of in the home stretch for this crazy year of 2021. Looking forward to 2021. And we got kind of an exciting way we're going to wrap up or crank up and finish off the year. So why don't you kind of share with the listeners kind of what we're going to do today in the next few episodes, and then we'll just jump right in because we want to, get right to it today.
Absolutely. So one of our foundational episodes, in fact, the foundational episode was episode 31, where we spoke about what are the key elements that you need to undertake in order to build an enduring great company. And we outlined 8 elements there. And so what we're doing over the next 4 weeks is we're going to dig into each of those elements, and we're going to explain what is it that you need to do now in the lead up to 2021 to set yourself up to build an enduring great company, but highly timely around December and January 2021 and everything that's going on. So today we're talking about the strong culture and behaviors that you needed and building a people magnet machine to attract and develop future leaders. So there's 2 parts within the people aspect that we're talking about today. So what are the things that you need to do to build a strong culture and behaviors and to build a people magnet machine?
Sounds and we're going deep. We talked about it last time. So let's just jump right in. So building a strong culture and behaviors that sets your company up to win in 2021 and after that. And we built a list, as Brad and I love to sit and brainstorm and, kind of crush our brains together on this. And, the number one thing to forget is it's great to have, culture and behaviors in your company, but you gotta avoid the wallpaper syndrome. Wallpaper is when they become words on the wall, but nobody sees them anymore. And you gotta breathe life into them again. So number one, we're going to dig into is, so how do you breathe new life into your values and your purpose, which are the kind of the roots of your culture? And, Brad, what are your favorite things that you have seen of how you bring and breathe life back into your culture on an ongoing basis? Because Colin's found in his research that companies that had enduring great cultures continued almost on a quarterly basis to do something to breathe life in them and to keep them top of mind again versus being wallpaper.
Absolutely. So
what's your faves?
Every single quarter, I think it's important to have a system. So every single quarter, with every team that I work with, certainly what we do is we ask, what do we need to do in the next 90 days to bring our values and our purpose and to a degree our BHAG to life? Why is that important? Because at any point, whenever someone says, look, we do this every quarter, why do we need to do that? And I say, well, number one, it's like brushing your teeth, right? It's a system. You've got to do it. It provides long-term benefits. Okay. Yes. But then number 2, I say, so why don't we grab any employee out there and we'll ask how deeply they understand the values and the purpose.
I'm going to go back. You just got something going in my mind. I'm picturing the metaphor of the teeth. It's like if you don't keep brushing your teeth, and you're supposed to floss. I'm not really great at that. But if you don't keep brushing your teeth, plaque builds up on your teeth. And plaque is not healthy for your system. And then your body starts to fight the plaque like a bacteria. So you don't want plaque on your culture. Because if you don't keep maintaining your teeth and your gum, plaque builds up. Just like if you don't maintain your culture, plaque builds up in your culture. Plaque is not your friend.
And so using that metaphor, that's point 1. Like we've got to think about core values, because okay, what if you didn't do it for 3, 6, 9 months? Suddenly people forget about it and it becomes the wallpaper that you mentioned. Like it's completely
Yes.
useless. And every single time when we kind of challenge that, we go out to the broader organization. We don't even need to go to frontline workers, right? We can go to the mid-management team and start to ask a few interesting questions about the values or the purpose, and they don't know. They don't know. And they're like, oh, I'm not sure. So, as much as you think that everybody knows, people don't know. And it's just this continual reminder from the
Yes.
leadership and bringing
So
it to
keep
life
the
using
plaque
fun
out of the
ways.
system. Find ways. Yeah, I know another test that we do is when we ask people to brag about other people or wins or brags. That's part of what we do on a quarterly basis. We ask them to link it to a core value. In the companies that have strong core values, the core values words or phrases shows up everywhere.
Yeah.
And the ones where it's weakening, I can almost get a sense of how tight it is by the words in the surveys when
Yeah.
they're prompted for those words. So we got number one, which is to really breathe life into it on a regular basis. Look at, you can do core values t-shirts. You can do core values awards. You can make sure it's part of your appraisal process. When we do 360s, we got a CEO we're working with right now, and he wants a 360. We're evaluating him on his own core values. There's 100 different ways, and we could probably come up with a little, ebook on 100 ways to reinforce your core values.
So
Key
what's
is
number
to
two? Oh, sorry. What's number two?
Yeah, it's awesome. So it's evaluate your team on your values and only promote those that really fit very well. The biggest mistakes we make with people are, one, because they don't have competence, and two, because they don't have culture.
Yeah.
So making sure you don't forget to look for the cultural fit, because promoting someone who doesn't fit your culture is equivalent to saying your culture doesn't matter and it's just BS.
Yeah.
So anytime you promote someone who doesn't fit it well, you're saying, yeah, culture, it ain't real.
So look at your core values. Let's say you've got 5 core values, and then say, okay, so if we're going to promote Rob, or if we're looking at who we're at, how does Rob align with our first core value out of 10, and our second core value out of 10, and our third, and so forth? So try to get some metrics around that. Some, I realize they're, to a degree, they're not they're not as good as we would like, but they're better than nothing. So looking, like, if one of your values is all one team, how closely does that person align with that?
Yes. And we, again, when we do 360s, for people to fit, if the core values are right and they're truly the core values, the key leaders should all be at an average of 8.5 out of 10 or greater on them. People are human. They're not perfect all the time, but generally, most of the time, at least, in the A range. And when you evaluate other people, someone you can promote, they should already be in an 8.5 out of 10 range. The key is to really truly check in, and don't forget to look at that. Now, the piece that we do with clients is that we do a talent review every quarter for most clients, where we evaluate the team and where they're at. And we're looking at core values fit. We're looking at performance and other factors, so that we just keep on top of our best people, helping them to grow and thrive. And the ones that aren't on track, trying to help them get on the bus or get
Yeah.
on the right seat in the bus, or maybe they are ready to get off at the next bus stop. I don't know.
But
So let's go.
understanding, just to close that out, understanding how your team align with your values is really important heading into 2021 with all the challenges that we've got.
Absolutely. One of the clients we work with in the US, we did their annual planning a couple of weeks ago. Their business faded by 30 or 40% with COVID.
Yeah.
And then they're up close to I think 50 or 60%.
Yeah.
So they pretty well doubled their business based on the COVID levels. But they have amazing cultural fit with almost all their people, a high percentage of high performers, and they're doing incredibly well, and people are enjoying it. Again, they're not perfect, but a lot of the right people, both culturally and competence wise, it makes a big difference. So let's go to level 3. And this is maybe not the most positive part. And I called it weeding the garden. You know, you get these people, and I was on a call today with the CEO, and there's a person just ain't working. It ain't gonna work. It's a tough call. And what they know is that they gotta kind of weed the garden, and this person's got to go. And one of the criteria for leaders is cultural fit, but also from a leadership perspective, being what Collins calls a level 5 leader, a truly humble and driven individual who wants to do the best for the organization. This person ain't that. So they've tried, they've given this person multiple chances, and unfortunately, the person, they're going to find a new job sometime in a new year, and it's a normal scenario. But a lot of people get stuck on this, and they won't pull the weeds. And I don't want to call people weeds. I just want to say is people who aren't a fit and aren't going to be a fit and aren't going to thrive. You got to help them make the choice sometimes.
And sometimes that just means taking the first step. People can just fester. They can just fester in these roles, and they're sitting there. Nothing's being done about it. Everyone knows they're never going to thrive. It could be your bottom 10% of the people that you've got. Now, I don't want to be arbitrary, but nope. It's not the top 20%, right? But who are the people, as you looked 2021, that are just never, ever going to thrive in your organization? In fact, they could be toxic. Well, even if we don't say you've got to exit them within a month, what about if you said within January 2021, you've got to make some kind of meaningful action with them?
Yes. So, for example, I got a letter over the weekend from a CEO forwarded to me on one of what we call toxic A's. High performing person who doesn't fit the culture. And in my book, Your Oxygen Mask, that's how I categorize them. They're A performance, but toxic culture. And he got a letter of resignation. Now, what we did over the last few months is we let this person know this behavior is not okay. And if you want to stay, it's got to change. So the point is, they made it crystal clear, the CEO did, to this person who was a high performer, been there a long time, but they couldn't get on culture. And finally the person made their own choice, which is wonderful. Even though the CEO said it still hurt a little bit, but he was relieved because the person's going to be happier somewhere else. So that's doing your job and letting them know that it's not okay if they want to stay.
Yeah. So let's review that. So moving into 2021, 3 key things. You've got to breathe life into your values and purpose. So what can you do to reignite your values and purpose, to let more people understand it? Number 2, evaluate your team on the values and ensure that you're only promoting, or who are the people that are potentially going to be promoted, and how do they align with your values? And then number 3, as Kevin said, weed the garden. So who are the people who are never going to thrive or who are toxic, that you need to take action on, and maybe take action before the end of January. So let's now move on to the second part of the people section, which is a people magnet machine. Again, this was from episode 31, how to build an enduring great business. And we said one of the components was you've got to build a people magnet machine to attract and develop our future leaders. So what's the first one that we've got here, Kevin?
Yes, and I want to give a call out and a shout out to Chris Marceau from Top Grading. He's the president of Top Grading. And we had him on a call with a bunch of our CEOs this morning. And this was when we talked about attracting great talent, is it really, you got to have a strategy for your employer brand to make it feel like a great place to work and have people really see it as a top of their list because you're understood to be an amazing company. So it's critical. And one of the things that he had mentioned this morning, again, thanks to Chris, he's an awesome guy. And we got a Top Grading 2-day training coming up. And that's why we had him talking to our CEOs, because we deep believer and supporter in that methodology. And what he talked about, though, is that, even things like the Great Places to Work awards. Now, there's creative ways to get that award, let's just say. There's lots of creative ways to get that award, but you still have to be good. You may not be great but you still have to be good to get it. And there's consultants that can help you to win the award and all kinds of stuff, which is not something that we're endorsing. But he says is that, for high performers, they often look for that. It's almost like a badge of quality.
A
And we know not
validation.
all badges are perfect measures, but they're indications that someone cares enough to try to be a great. And some of the companies there are absolutely outstanding, and some are just good marketers. But the point of it is that really, how do you position yourself so that people can see, hey, when you come work here, it's a good thing.
Well, I've got a client and they've won Great Place to Work for the past 10 years consecutively. Not many companies have done that.
No.
Shout out to Tristan. And they, they use it as a key part of their employee brand, attracting the right people, and they promote it through universities, and they promote it in their advertising and their marketing and everywhere. So what we're really saying here is thinking about how can you become a better place to work? You may not know this. I used to own an employee job board. Okay. So job adverts would be placed on the business that I had. It was a bit like monster.com, I guess you'd say, or Seek in Australia. And there would be two adverts that looked almost identical. One would get 100 or 200 applicants. The other would get 5 or 7. And they were written almost exactly the same. And the difference was the underlying employer brand. So that's an extreme example, maybe. But what can you do looking into 2021 to improve your employer brand?
Yeah. And thinking like a marketer, and also thinking almost like, a great restaurant would about customer service, thinking about that from a perspective of your employees and making it a great place to, it's, it takes a little bit extra energy and gives you a huge reward, because then also it makes it easier for your existing team to recruit their best friends, their best colleagues, their best associates. Awesome. So the second one is really, we need dedicated time to proactively recruit. Like, the best people are already employed, gainfully employed, and their companies aren't planning on letting them go anytime soon. And unfortunately, is that when it comes time to hire, we're usually short. We don't have good people, and we scramble. And they call it, and Chris is talking about this again this morning, but it was building your virtual bench. It's always having people lined up that are high quality candidates, and proactively recruiting before you need it. So you've got some options when it comes up. And to recruit amazing people takes time. I mean, one guy we recruited, one client, it took almost 3 years to recruit him away from where he was. We made a list of the highest performers in the industry, and the CEO started doing his coffee dates, as he would call it. Not dates, but having coffee with people. It took 3 years to get the deal to get this guy. Now, he was in sales. He had one of the best customer lists in the industry. So when he came over, millions of dollars of profit followed him. Because they wanted to work with him. And my client managed to get a deal to bring the guy across. But that was 3 years of proactive recruitment to get this rock star hired away. And most executives don't, and CEOs don't spend the time recruiting. They're so busy doing their day job, they don't spend the time to build the team or build the army. And I get that it's hard. I have a solution that we're going to roll out with our clients. I might not say it here, but we have a solution for our clients that we're going to roll out to help this, that I had the epiphany about today. But anyway, it's an area where many people lack, and they wait for HR, and then HR is going to run job ads. That is probably the hardest way to hire great people on the planet. Maybe you could stand out front and hand out $20 bills.
Great people don't apply for job ads. Because they're always approached. So thinking that you're going to get great people through a job ad it's just worshiping the wrong ideals. It's never going to work that way. I worked with
be careful with the word never. Rarely and hard. Yes.
You're making your life incredibly hard for no good reason. Why do you do this to yourself when you could be proactive rather than reactive? I worked with a new home builder constructing new homes, and I walked into the CEO's office, and he very proudly showed me his box of business cards, And he said, I've got the business card of every salesperson in the city in terms of new homes. I know them all, I've ranked them all, and I know exactly where they are. And he was proud because he knew I understand the value of that and the value of that ranking system. And he's the CEO, he's not the head of HR.
Yes.
So what we're really saying here then is, if we're going to look into 2021, what can you do to begin to build this virtual bench? What are maybe the one or two most high impact roles in your whole organization? Could be sales, could be engineering, it could be operations, marketing, could be anything. But what are the roles that are going to have the greatest impact? And then who are the other people in the industry that are the greatest? And maybe you can start to have 5 or 10 conversations. So what if you booked in 5 or 10 coffee meetings in January to begin to talk to those people? And you don't need to say, oh, hi, Kevin, I've got a job for you. What you could say is, look, we're looking for awesome people, and I just keep hearing amazing things about you, Kevin. Like, I don't really hear good things about you, Kevin. I'm just going to flag that. This is just role play.
Well, and Chris shared an amazing stat today. They said in research, this is the president of Top Grading. And he said in the research they've done, or they've found, that if you look at the pool of candidates who could be amazing or could be qualified for the job you're looking at, 80% of them will entertain a conversation.
Yeah.
So 80% of people will take the call or have a conversation. That doesn't mean they're going to move, but they're open to it. But that takes proactive energy. And most organizations treat recruitment like it's an administrative task versus a strategic driver.
So let's move on to number 3, building a people magnet machine to attract and develop our future leaders. Number 3 is invest in the growth of your existing good and great people. So what are we really saying here in the context of 2021 as we go into this challenging environment, Kevin? What do you think we're really trying to say here?
You know, you've got some great people on your team. Don't forget to grow and develop them. They are they're like your flagship products. They are your best people that can showcase what's possible at the company. And if you continue to invest in your people and care about them and their own growth and development, they'll get better. And you'll showcase you as a company who invests in your people, which will make them proud to tell their friends and to tell other people all the great. So first of all, the talent gets better, period. But 2, those types of people that feel valued and cared for are more likely to bring over the best people because they can be confident that the best people will be treated well.
And so what could you do thinking about January, thinking about maybe even the first quarter? Who are your best people? Who are the high impact people that your competitors would love to get a hold of to get them to plant their roots a little bit deeper into your organization? And it's not just about saying, hey, I wanted to let you know that you're doing a good job. It could be just building that relationship, taking them out for a coffee, having a meeting with them, or getting them to participate in an exciting new project or something. But if you look at maybe the top 10 or 20% of people in your organization, what can you do to invest in them? Time, money, resources, something like that.
Yep, that's awesome.
Business.
So under the people magnet machine, number 1, brand strategy. What can you do to improve your employer brand and put your marketing hat on to make it look, feel, and help to attract people to see what a great place you are? 2, you got to have dedicated time to recruit. It is a strategic driver, not an administrative task. And if you rely on recruiters, not only is it expensive, it's harder to get the best talent. And then 3, invest in the growth of your people, as we've talked about. And how do you help them to grow and shine and leverage what you have? And again, they would be your best spokespeople. In some cases, sometimes your best recruiters.
Awesome. So this is the first of our 4-part series on building a great enduring company going into 2021 and what you've got to do right now. So in the meantime, we hope you enjoy the break that's coming up, and we look forward to speaking to you again in about a week. Again, as always, this has been the Growth Whisperers podcast. Thanks for listening. I'm Brad Giles, joined as always by my co-host, Kevin Lawrence. For myself, you can find me at evolutionpartners.com.au. And for Kevin, you can find him at lawrenceandco.com. We hope you have a great week.